everyone and welcome back to the channel. Well, we're gonna use this fabric yarn today to do our heart basket. You can see how thick it is, and as well we're gonna use a 6.5mm hook. We're gonna use stitch markers, the tapestry needle, use the biggest one that you have, and some scissors. And let's move along with the pattern. To start this heart, you're gonna start by chaining 14. I know it's not an easy yarn. If you are used to using the regular yarns, obviously you're gonna find yourself that it's quite hard to work this yarn. So be patient with yourself and do it slowly. Make sure you're doing all the stitches and you're not pressuring your yarn, that you're giving some space to it, and it's creating exactly all the stitches with a good gap in between to work on them along the entire project. When we have our 14 chains, we're gonna start single crochet in the first 4 stitches. Remember, you don't work the first one where your hook is the second one that is considered the first stitch to work. Once you've done the 4 single crochets at the very beginning, you're gonna do 3 single crochets together. It's 3 stitches, so the next 3 stitches are gonna be worked all together, and those are the ones that are gonna create the shape of our heart, the bottom part. And I will suggest you do like I'm showing you right now in the video, where you're pulling a little bit the yarn, so you're giving yourself enough space to put that hook through, and make sure you work all of the stitches. And basically, as you can see, it's like doing 1 single crochet, but you just pull them all together. Once you have done that, you have 4 stitches left, and you're gonna single crochet them as well. So as you can see, except for the bottom part of our heart, the rest of both sides are worked the same way. So single crochet until you reach your slip knot that you have created at the very beginning to start your project of 14 chains. On the last stitch, which is the stitch of the stitch marker, you're gonna do 3 single crochets together. That's how you're gonna finish your last stitch where your tail and your slip knot are. And then from there, we're gonna work the other side of our chain spaces that we just created before. And I'm gonna suggest you that you take your tail with you for hiding it. This is the best way to hide your tail and secure your beginning of your project. As you can see, we can start seeing the shape of a heart, of a big V. Now, on the other side of the chains, starting from that first stitch, because the last one we already worked it, you're gonna make 5 single crochets on the next 5 stitches. So that means 5 stitches. As you can see, I didn't leave a really long tail, so it was quite easy for me to hide it. Again, this type of yarn is quite different than normal ones, so obviously you're not gonna be able to sew around and hide stitches around in the same way. Now you're gonna do, after you've done your 5 stitches, you can always pull and then see how many you have done. I have 3 here, so there goes my 4th, and there goes my 5th stitch. And once I've done that, what I'm gonna do in what is the other side of the peak of our heart, you're gonna do 3 single crochets together. In that same stitch, you can see it's the same one that where we've done the single crochets together, remember? But there's a slight difference of when we work. You need to remember we are working the other half of the chain. So you're not gonna have a full V, a full stitch yet. You're gonna have only the one side of the yarn. So pull a little bit if you have to, because obviously it will be quite tight since we work 3 stitches together in one same space, and then work 3 single crochets on that same space. I know a lot of people guide themselves by a stitch means it has to have a V. Well, in this case it's not, because we are working the other side of the chains. So once you've done the 3 single crochets together, you should have 5 stitches left, and those are the ones that you're gonna work on a single crochet again until we reach what was the beginning of our spaces, where we start working the heart, and then now we are just finishing the other side of it the same way how we started, by doing the 5 last stitches. And then on the last stitch that you have available, with you're gonna work 2 single crochets. That same stitch is already been worked, but that one needs to match the other side of the heart, which, remember, we work 3 single crochets. So because you already work 1 in there, now you have to work 2 more, and that should complete your full round 2 of these heart baskets. This is the bottom of our basket, so you can see how it's starting to come to shape. I'm gonna hide the little tail that I have, and that's gonna be as easy as to push it in, and then you can also pull it from the inside. If you have a longer one, it will have been easier for you to hide it in between stitches, but you know, I don't like to waste our yarns, so let's don't leave a huge tail. You're not gonna slip stitch anymore. You're gonna start the next round by doing 2 single crochets on the same stitch. We're not slip stitching, we're just working the next round straight away. And that is gonna help us with how is it going to look. I suggest you take the first stitch that you have worked of those 2 that we just done, and that you take a stitch marker and you mark that first stitch, and that's gonna help you to know where is the beginning and the end. Why? Because when we do slip stitches, normally we will either see the slip stitch or we will have to chain one to continue, and it will be easier for us to know where we are at on the moment of continue our row. But that doesn't mean when you're continuing one row that that's gonna happen. So now in the next 3 stitches, you're gonna single crochet 1 time. Those are the 3 stitches that you're gonna do now, and we have to continue building up this shape. If you were to continue single crochet everything, that doesn't mean you're growing your pattern, that doesn't mean you're growing your project and you're doing the shape properly. So we have to kind of repeat what we've done on the previous row. So after those 3 stitches, you're gonna have to do 3 single crochets together again. So you're working in the 3 single crochets together from before, plus other 2 stitches from each side. Remember what I say at the beginning. Remember to pull your yarn so you give yourself enough space to work on them, and they are not gonna be too tight at the time of doing them. After you have done the 3 single crochets together, you're gonna work the next 3 stitches as a single crochet as well. And that way you're gonna match what you just done in between the 3 single crochets together, one side and another. This pattern is not that difficult to follow, but if you are a person that prefers to have it in written, you are in luck, because I have the written pattern available as well on my website as PDF. And one extra thing that I have available, and I will mention really soon, is starting kits packages, which means you're gonna get a package for yourself that will include every single material that you're gonna need for this project, and that's going to be all the yarn that you are gonna need, stitch markers, hooks, tapestry needles, the written pattern with a QR code that will take you to this video as well, so you can visually see how to do it. And if you would like that, please send a comment saying I want, and I will send you the direct link. Otherwise, you can find it on the description box down below. On the next 3 stitches, you're gonna do 2 single crochets on every stitch, and that's gonna match the curve of the other side. Remember, we start with 2 single crochets together, so that's what you're repeating right now, and you will finish that way on the other side. So do 2 single crochets together on each side, and then we're gonna move along the back of the basket of the hearts to do one single crochet on the next 6 stitches, and then like that we're kind of matching the other side. Obviously one side will always kind of be a little bit bigger than another. In this case it's going to be the bottom compared with the top, because in the bottom is where we have to like grow our heart a little bit more, and on the top is where we have to do more of the shape. Once you've done the 6 single crochets, that's when you will reach the peak of your heart, and over there you're gonna do 3 single crochets together on the same space. That, if you see, is where we've done the stitches together. So there is gonna be 3 single crochets together, and then you're gonna do 6 single crochets on the next 6 stitches. If you're an absolute beginner and you would like to learn how to crochet, how to start all of this journey, well, you are in luck. I have something launching really soon at the beginning of February. I have the last spots available for you to join, and is different type of courses, a master class for absolute beginners, for intimate, and for the advanced crocheters. So we are gonna do a course where it's gonna be 4 weeks, and you're gonna learn all the stitches from the beginning. We're gonna do projects together, and we are going to learn from the scratch up to the top. And then you are gonna be able to do it one-on-one with me, and you're gonna do it in a group as well. And what you're gonna do as well is you're gonna receive a kit where you will get all the materials for the project we're gonna do for those 4 weeks. Apart from that, you have as well the masterclass where I'm going to teach you how to do projects, how to take your pictures, how to sell things, how to set up your social media. And that way, you're going to be able to start your business from scratch straight away as soon as you start doing your projects, and then use them as promotion for your first projects. If you are really interested in that, please leave a comment down below that say I need, and I will send you the straight link. Otherwise, you can find it on the description box down below. In the last 2 stitches, we're gonna do 2 single crochets together. So we are matching the other side of the heart. And this is gonna go together with what we've done at the very beginning. Remember, we start with the stitches 2 together. So now comes the time to remove your stitch marker and move to the next round. We are not gonna slip stitch again. You're gonna start by doing 2 single crochets together, 1 single crochet, and you're gonna repeat these steps. You're gonna mark again your first stitch, as you can see in there, and then the next one, you just done the 2 together. Now you have to do 1 on its own. Once you have done the 2 singles together and the stitches, we have to do what we need for reach again the peak. So for that, you're gonna do 1 single crochet on the next 2 stitches, and then you're gonna repeat what we've done in the previous row, which is the 3 single crochets together. So remember, it's like you're gonna work on 3 stitches at the same time, and you are gonna put them all together to create the center of the top part of your heart. Once we've done the 3 together, we're gonna single crochet again on the next 2 stitches. So that's the next step. And then comes the time to repeat the combination of 2 single crochets together and single crochet on its own. So you're gonna repeat. You can see now how beautiful is the shape of what we're doing right now. So what you're going to do right now, it's gonna be repeat the 2 single crochets together, 1 single crochet 3 times, and that's gonna be the curve of our heart. And that you're gonna have in the same way on the other side. Keep that in mind. So move along doing 2 single crochets together, 1 single crochet on its own 3 times, and I see you to the next step. Once we've done that, we are gonna do 7 single crochets on the next 7 stitches. So I mean 1 single crochet on every stitch. We're gonna work 1 single crochet on the next 7 stitches, and that should bring us straight away to the peak of our heart, where we are going to work our 3 single crochets together. So do that 7 stitches, and I see you at the peak to do the 3 single crochets together. Now that we have reached the peak, that's where you're gonna do 3 single crochets together, and it's so easy to know which stitch is this one, because you can see the other 3 single crochets together we have done on the other side of the heart. And now the only thing we have left is to repeat the same thing that we have previously done, which is 7 stitches, so 1 single crochet on every stitch. So do those 7 single crochets, and then we're gonna finish the same way how we've done the other side. So single crochet, 7 stitches, and I see you on the next step. So you can see this is how it's looking so far, and the only thing we have to do is finish the other side of the heart. And to do that is do the same repetition we've done last time, but this time you're only going to do it twice, which is 2 single crochets together, 1 single crochet on its own. The reason why you're only doing it 2 times is because, remember, we start with that pattern at the very beginning. So right now you just have to finish it, if that makes sense. You're copying the same that the other side, but it's just a way to finish it. So as you can see, 2 stitches left, which means in the first one you have to do 2 single crochets together, and then on the last one you're gonna do 1 single crochet on its own, and be ready for the next part of the heart. At this point, the base of your heart is finished, and come the time to start building up the top part of the basket. To work the back of the basket, we're gonna go in the first stitch, but we're gonna do it through the back. So what you have to do is you have to turn around your project. You're gonna have to insert your hook on that stitch that you have marked, and you're gonna pull the yarn that way, so it will come to the back, and that way you're gonna bring it to the proper place where it should be. So you're gonna work it through the back, and then you're gonna do a slip stitch that way, as you can see. So we're closing down that whole base of your heart, and we are ready to work what it will be called the back side of it, and that way we're gonna build up the foundation of our basket. Remove your stitch marker and be ready to work on the next part, which is the basket hive. Once you have finished all of your slip stitches, you're going to slip stitch on the first one, chain 1, and you're gonna turn your project around. Now we're gonna work on the other side of what we've done, and we are going to work stitches on what will be kind of like the other side of the border. You need to think that we have to create like a hive of this project, so that's why we have to keep turning rather than doing stitches on the same way in circles. It's gonna create a different type of pattern. And again, what you're gonna do this time, you're gonna single crochet every single stitch you just done right now with slip stitches. Now it's gonna become a single crochet. So single crochet around the whole entire project, and I see you in a moment when you finished to connect one side with another once more and have what will be our second row of stitches done, and we're building our basket. We are really close to the end. This is how our heart looks like, and this time we are not going to slip stitch when we finish. We are straight away gonna go and work. But can you see what we've done? So the fact of turning is what has created that we leave that loops on the bottom, and we're gonna start working in the center of a stitch. So I'm showing you right here, as you can see, is that a gap in there in between two lines of fabric. That's where you're going to insert your hook, not on the normal space, but in the in between in there. That's where you're going to work the next stitches for this row. So to do that, you are going to work an amount of stitches around, and those are all going to finish our project, which is single crochet every single stitch same way like that around, and that is what is going to complete our second row. So yes, you're still doing stitches, single crochets same like before, but this time you're changing the position, and that makes that the basket, the way how the fabric connects with one another, it doesn't sew stitches around, it's just hide one stitch with another. So it's kind of creating a full pattern that doesn't have a beginning and an end, if that makes any sense. So I let you do that. Be really careful, make sure you take all of the stitches, you didn't miss any, and I'll see you once you finish. Mark your first stitch if you must, because remember we haven't slip stitch, so we need to remember what is our first one. And I'm gonna see you in a moment once we finish this row and I teach you how to do the next one. For the next round, again, we're not going to slip stitch and chain one or anything. We're straight away going to work on our last round, and that's going to be creating one slip stitch on every single stitch around our heart. If you were to wanted to do this project taller, I would suggest you do the in between stitches single crochets again and again until you reach the height that you want. As I always say, these video tutorials, they are not me telling you how to do it, like this is how you have to do it and you don't have another way. No, I'm just telling you how to start and how to finish, and there comes your choice of modifications where you're gonna go and you're going to modify this as much as you want to. If you're making this for yourself and you know what you're going to put inside this basket and you need it taller, do it taller. If you need to do the heart bigger, do it as well. Any single modifications that you do is going to make this project more unique and different for you. So please feel free to add more rows if you wanted to make it taller. And then just remember that once you've finished is when you have to do the last row of slip stitches all around to finish with the whole entire project. I'm gonna continue fast forwarding. I'm gonna show you now how it looks at the end. And the only thing you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to slip stitch on the first slip stitch that you've done to close, cut your yarn, and you will be done. That's the last step for this beautiful heart basket with a fabric yarn that I took here to bring it to you. So here, as you can see, we have the end of our heart basket. Remove your stitch marker, slip stitch on the last one, and just cut your yarn to finish this project. I like to finish it by chaining one. That creates for me a more secure end of the project. You don't have to cut a really long yarn, to be honest, because you want it to be easier. Pull it so you can hide that end. And then now we just have to hide it. And here is the whole pattern. I hope you like it. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And I'll see you really soon with the next one. In the meantime, have a look on what we already upload for you.